walls are riddled with claw marks and bloodstains. Was this place attacked by monsters? Recalling the subterranean village, you cover your mouth and drop your head. Feel sick? Trollis asks, worried about you. With your eyes cast downward, you spot what appears to be a scrap of paper with a drawing on it. This place must have been a weapons shop of some kind. You note a number of still usable weapons arrayed on its shelves and walls. No small number of them look like implements of torture. You and the others give the distasteful shop a quick once-over and decide to be quit of the place. This place looks like it was an inn. With a little tidying up, it should be perfectly usable. Legol is clearly not in favor of the idea. We're not seriously going to sleep here, are we? Polka counters that not only is there nowhere else to sleep, but critically, it won't cost anything to rest here. Having argued down Legol's disagreement, the group decides to sleep at the inn. After getting a bare minimum of rest, you leave the inn. Within the small building, you find some things that look like laboratory equipment, along with a sturdy-looking cage. Legol says, "Let's hurry and get out of here." The fright in his voice is plain. You suppose he really doesn't like unsettling places like this. You feel a bit of guilt at the thought, but can't help but find it a little cute to see Legol acting so unlike his usual stoic self. As Legol hurries everyone along, Polka inspects the equipment. He manages to locate a scrap of paper with some kind of drawing on it. On the shelves, you spy a number of salves, poultices, and other medicinals. Maybe this place was an apothecary. Polka says that several of the items could be of use, so you decide to borrow them, minus the especially suspicious-looking ones. Upon the walls of the sturdy building, there is a single word written in crude lettering. Help. Gazing at the writing, all the color drains from Legol's face, and he looks ready to make a run for it. You reach out a hand to comfort him, but as you do, you spot a scrap of paper at his feet with what looks like a drawing on it. Having given the village a once-over, you decide to return to the inn ruin for the time being and review what you've learned. However, you don't have a clear picture of what happened here. Absent any other ideas, you take the scraps of paper you found during your search and lay them out on top of a desk. Looking at the images on the scraps, Polka realizes that they must have originally formed a single page. Huh? Trollis says, cocking her head to the side, puzzled. You might have gotten something wrong here. After taking a brief moment to collect yourself, you decide to take another shot at putting the scraps together. With the scraps assembled properly, they form what appears to be a map. Looking closely, you spot a flower drawn in one particular location. Something about it calls to mind a childhood memory for Polka. Polka stands dazed and unmoving. You ask if anything is wrong, but he replies, "No, nothing at all." Breaking the reverie, a something black as midnight assails the party. You reach for your weapon, ready to fend off a monster. But when you take a look, Legol's upbraiding brings you back to the moment, and you grip your weapon tight, ready to fight. To battle. The monster-like thing's attacks are ferocious. Like darkness come to life, it steadily wears you down. Trollis seems to be feeling the same unease you are in regards to the creature. You've managed to defeat the creature and hold a card aloft to seal it. It doesn't seem to work, though. Maybe this really isn't a monster after all. A little troublesome having to deal with all these unknown foes, isn't it? Exclaims Polka. The four of you decide to run for it. But when you turn, you find Steelboro soldiers blocking your path, trapping you. Perhaps they're in pursuit of those responsible for killing everyone in the Senate. Legol clicks his tongue. The group decides that it would be better to take on the soldiers than to challenge the black creatures. However, the Steelboro soldiers ignore you and start to fight with the creatures. The thought of just running for it crosses your mind, but the soldiers are still people. You can't just leave them to die. The soldiers don't wait for your help and manage to bring down the shadowy creatures. Polka shouts his appreciation to the soldiers. "Thank you so much." They turn to look at you and Polka, and with a nod, they attack you this time. expected nothing less. You manage to defeat the Steelborough soldiers. You question one of them, asking how many of them are pursuing you. In the next instant, the soldier is back on its feet and rushing at you. Legol turns to you. We shouldn't linger here. Abiding his suggestion, you decide to hurry away from the place. You decide to ask your friends what to do next. New Terra's dangerous, Legol says. Now that we know, we should just go back. You can't deny the truth of what he's saying, given what just transpired in the village. Nonetheless, Trollis waves her hands about vigorously. Still good to go. And with that, she indicates that she'll follow you. We should press on through New Terra, says Polka. He is curious about the mark on the map, thinking of the Guru of Lightville and her claim that what you seek would be in New Terra. You tell the others, I want to keep exploring New Terra. You're curious about Polka's reaction to the mark on the map. Fine, but I'm going back after we check that spot out, Legol says, with no attempt to mask the displeasure in his voice. Polka looks carefully at the map and determines that the mark indicates a location north of where you are, between snow-capped mountains. Battle time. You turn to find the source of the voice, and who should you find but the wandering merchant waving animatedly at you? How did he get here, though? Did he climb the end wall? You're floored by his hustle, but pull yourself together enough to offer a tiny wave in reply. Battle time. The merchant's eyes are starry and bright. This is his first glimpse of New Terra. You ask the man how he managed to scale the end wall, and he raises 2 bloodied palms to show you. Why, it seems as though he climbed over himself in pursuit of your group. He laughs off your surprise. It was nothing, not when there's business to be doing. You recoil a bit, but are nonetheless glad to have the chance to do some shopping. As you forge on through the snow, you come across a tattered doll covered in deep gashes. Gashes that could only be made by monster claws. The doll appears to be covered in dark red blood. You don't want to think about the fate that befell its owner. The smell of all that blood is going to attract more monsters, the rest of the party warns. Someone must be missing it, you insist, and place the bloody doll into your pack. I expected. Blood smell. With those words, a monster appears before you, nose twitching. There'll be no getting out of this fight. A masterful victory! There's no doubt about it. The bloody dull scent attracted the monster. You'd better find its owner before it draws any more bloodthirsty beasts to you, even if it means leaving the doll by a corpse. The party silently watches as you place the doll back into your pack. Everyone knows what must be done. That's how it's done. As you trudge through the snow, you hear a muffled thwop somewhere ahead, the sound of snow falling from the trees above. The next sound you hear is the crick-crack of a strained branch above your head. Uh-oh. You make a harried attempt to leap away, but your leg gets caught and you fall to the ground. Sure enough, the snow buries you, pinning you in place. You're certain frostbite is imminent. Your companions manage to free you, but you're already chilled to the bone. According to Polka, the place that the map marker indicates should be around here. You can detect the telltale signs of life nearby. Could there be a village? It may be worth a visit. You notice telltale signs of monsters, too. To your surprise, you realize that there is a settlement of monsters just ahead. The mark on the map looks like it's pointing to this village. It seems like it could be dangerous to approach. You say that you want to go into the village, but Legol stops you, insisting that you need a plan first. However, with uncommon zeal, Polka suddenly bursts out, "Please, you have to let me investigate the place." He explains that the mark drawn on the map looks much like his mother's hand. You truly do want to agree to his request, but it would be reckless to a fault if you just marched right in without preparing. The fairies you encountered on the end wall were masquerading as Polka and Trollis. So wouldn't that mean you could use this powder to disguise yourselves? You suggest to the others that you use the fairy dust to disguise yourselves as monsters. Though reluctant to assume such a form, you're left with little other recourse. You and the others use the fairy dust and transform into monsters. Trollis seems somehow pleased with her newfound fuzziness. Certainly more pleased than Legol, who is rather less than happy about his new monster form. At any rate, the transformation has afforded you the opportunity to safely infiltrate the village, and you set off to do so. It looks like no humans live in this village. Instead, the monsters seem to have a thriving culture of their own. You can't hide your surprise that they live just like humans, and your mouth drops open. Polka whispers into your ear, "Let's hurry and look around this place before they find out what we really are." The monster offers you a ball and says, "I'm much too noble. Couldn't possibly play with something like this. Throw me something more valuable," the monster says, tail wagging back and forth out of a desire to play. "Here, fetch," you say, throwing something from your pack. The monster zips after it, tongue lolling with delight. The monster returns quickly, something clutched in mouth, but not what you threw. The monster running the inn can sing a tune so sweet, it seems it'll have you sound asleep in moments and dreaming sweet, rejuvenating dreams. How about a nice rest? Someone calls as you approach the inn. The monster running the weapon shop explains that they sell weapons stolen from adventurers. I'm so hungry, the bone monster says, theatrically patting the void where its stomach would be. It keeps stealing glances over at you. Polka signals to you with his eyes to just ignore it. The creature is clearly fishing for a response. Trollis, however, takes the bait. But no stomach? Great. That's right, chatters the monster with delight, its joints cricking and cracking. That's why I'm so hungry. It always goes right through me. After you enter the dimly lit shop, you notice its monster owner sighing. You ask if something is wrong, and it explains that it doesn't have enough dishes to feed the pets in the shop. After taking a good look at you, the owner asks, "Would you be willing to get a plate from the nearby village?" You don't especially want to help a monster, but Polka convinces you by saying, "It probably wouldn't hurt for us to ingratiate ourselves to the locals." All my darlings are so very hungry. Please, all the goods on offer have been stolen from one adventurer or another. the shopkeep impresses upon you just how useful they'll be. Someday, the monster says, trembling all over. The monster cackles ominously. I may have shed my earthly shell, but I haven't lost my love of games. This is the game parlor. A monster calls out, "Want to play cards?" "You're not gonna win contest like that," one of the monsters says breathlessly. The trio seems worked up about something. When you ask what kind of contest it is, the monsters leap around and reply, "Jumping contest." With starry, lovelorn eyes, the sprite says, "How I wish to see him again." Upon hearing the details from her, you think the object of her longing sounds a bit like Legol. "Ha! As if," the monster snorts with laughter. The doors of the magnificent mansion open, and a delightfully fluffy monster comes out. The monster says, "Spend all the time you want. Our village is yours." It looks as though this is the local mayor. The mayor looks at Polka in surprise and then narrows his eyes. He explains that Polka reminds him a lot of a friend of his from long ago. Hoping to win the mayor over, Polka rattles off a lie. Yes, I'm his descendant." The mayor is apparently the credulous sort and is convinced. He offers a memento of his old friend. You leave the village and quickly undo the transformation. You don't find it terribly enjoyable to remain in monster form. I expected nothing less. As you scan the ruins, your eyes land on a drawing of a young girl and her doll. You pick it up from the floor. The doll looks rather familiar. Your eyes go wide. You tear open your pack and take out the bloodied doll. It must have belonged to the little girl who lived here. The next instant, your companions call your name and point to the floor where you picked up the drawing. You look back down at the floor and notice a plank that doesn't quite look like the others. You pry the plank loose, revealing a treasure chest hidden beneath the floor. Inside is a piece of equipment in almost pristine condition. You take the equipment from the chest and place the bloodied doll inside. "I will avenge you," you whisper. Some of the weapons on display look like tools of torture. Legol says, "We've searched this place enough. Let's go." This ruin looks as though it may have been an inn. Unfortunately, there isn't a single piece of dishware to be found. They must have all... There is some laboratory equipment in the building, along with a cage. Legol says, "We've looked around. There are several salves, poultices, and other medicinals on the shelves." Legol says, There is a single word written in crude lettering on the wall. Help. Highly unsettling though it may be, you carefully search the area and find a plate on the floor. Trembling, Legol says, "We got what we came for. No point sticking around any longer." He's not wrong. You could be attacked at any time by one of those shadowy creatures. You all agree to hurry back to town. You use some of the fairy powder to change form into a monster and slip back into the town of monsters. The monster accepts the plate from you and immediately sets about preparing food for the pets. You hear the shuffling of feet on the floor as the hungry pets answer the owner's call. But then you realize what the pets are. Humans. Eat up. You're all very, very important gifts, the monster coos with a smile. You can't turn a blind eye to this. This is barbaric. How dare you treat humans this way? You scream. The monster looks at you in surprise. What you talking about? You draw your weapon and brandish it at them. Battle time. You've managed a clean victory over the pet shop owner. Your conviction is renewed that monsters are beasts to be despised for the suffering they cause humans. The people freed from the cages look terrified and are unable to even speak. Well, now what? Says Legol. Your reply is cool and composed. Polka agrees with your assessment. We'll be found out before long, and there's little else we can do to save so many people. In a tiny voice, Legol replies, Yeah, right. He looks out of the shop window and surveys the town. Wish I could have eaten my fill one last time, the monster says, before issuing a particularly dry death rattle. to battle. The monster lets out a clipped whine and then lies down for the last time. Battle time. At last, true rest, the monster says, before its eyes close forever. Maybe poetic justice, the Yeti says. These words are its last. Beautiful. I'm going to die without my revenge, the monster says, its final words oozing out before it passes on. Battle time. I've already lost my body. I know when to fold, the monster says, before giving up the ghost. Battle time. We practiced so much, the monster says. They have hopped their last. Battle time. I wish I could have seen him one more time, the monster says, before issuing its dying breath. It looks like you've defeated all of the monsters in the village. You decide that there's no longer any need to remain in monster form and undo your transformations. But at that moment, a giant monster stomps up to your group. The monster's teeth gnash in fury. Seeing you and Legol has jogged something in its memory. Your eyes go wide hearing the creature's words. You remember that scar on its eye. It can't be. Was this the monster that attacked the subterranean village? Never would you have imagined you'd run into this monster here. You grab your weapon and let out a guttural scream. You have a history with this one. You stand over the fallen monster and raise your sword high. This is for everyone you killed. Looking at you, the monster speaks in a soft voice. What you did here, any different? The scarred monster destroyed your home, and now you've destroyed its. Shut up, says Legol. He steps forward and thrusts his sword at the monster in your place. You shake your head and stop him. You know you have to do this yourself. You've had your revenge. Maybe killing this monster was the whole reason for this trip. Yet the monster's words stick with you, like a tiny bone lodged in your throat. Legol notices you brooding and speaks, his voice full of concern. Don't let it worry you. The village mayor comes over, looking at you as though he wishes to speak. You decide to listen to the mayor. The mayor speaks in a quiet voice as he tells you how this town came to be. After finishing, the mayor hands you a key to his residence. He explains that the entrance to the ruins can be found in the basement of his home. There is something there, a truth you ought to know. He continues, now my duty is done. Will you kill me quickly? put your sword away. You have no desire to end the life of one who so clearly wants it. The mayor gazes at you, sadness swimming in his eyes, then looks up at the sky. You need to go to the mayor's residence and find whatever this truth is that you must know.